Your profile shows your avatar, and see, here's my adorable goblin. Fearsome goblin. Fearsome. He's very intimidating. Welcome back, everyone, to Random's Thoughts. As you can see over there, we have a new game on deck for you, and that is Dragon Evo. It recently released in early access, and the developers were gracious enough to gift me with a free key. Now, I did get a chance to get into it ahead of time before the official early access release, thanks to that gifted key from the devs. So I have a little bit of experience, but these are my initial thoughts, both positive and some negative, as we dive into the game. So let's get into it. Because this is an early access client, and that's part of the reason why I'm emphasizing that at the beginning, it is very much as compared to other games. So and that's a weird statement if you only listen to just those specific words, but compared to other games, yep, there we go. Thanks, Luminar. Compared to a lot of other games that will release in early access or beta, and they'll come out and it's, look, this is the finished product. There are bugs, potentially really bad bugs, but you can buy stuff from those other games. They have their monetization model. It's effectively released. It's just kind of, oh, well, if you find a bug, here's the excuse. As I'm playing, and as I had played through Dragon Evo, this is more early access in the vein of, it's early access. They're still going through stuff. So, there have been a lot of patches that have come through. They are very responsive. In fact, right before, as I was going live, there was a patch that was pushed like minutes before me going live. So the game is definitely getting updates. To give a little bit of history, apparently this game has been in development for, we'll say, a pretty long time. It's by a team of a few brothers that have been, I guess, had the dream to try and make a card game, which is kind of cool. I can kind of empathize with that. Not on the brothers' front, but on the wanting to make a card game and finally getting it realized. Well, maybe not on that front either. I haven't done it. But you get what I'm saying. Like, as somebody who's wanted to make a game, this is pretty cool. So I had intentionally not touched it all week. They had wiped progress from the pre-testing early access to what we have now. And I'm going to have to update my overlay as we go through in order for me to, because like I said, I intentionally avoided touching it. The reason being is I wanted to make sure that we got everything on recording for the initial playthrough. Now, I touched it a little bit earlier today just to make sure that I had it in OBS and that it would pick it up and blah, blah, blah. And you missed out on me selecting my goblin avatar, which is adorable. I mean, very fearsome. Fearsome goblin avatar. But music got louder again. It's probably just the song in the background. We're going to have to suffer through it until I can get through to the menu a little bit. Because this is the growing pains of it, because I specifically wanted to do it this way, I didn't skip anything in the beginning. I'll have to adjust the sound. So I did. Let me try this. That should lower it. That should lower it for now. It's probably because I switched scenes. So we're going to jump in, do the tutorial, and then jump into the campaign, see if there's anybody else on to try and run some games against, and we'll see how the night progresses. So, but keep me updated, chat. Keep me updated if there's other stuff that's weird. Now it's just your grating voice, I know. Not exactly what everybody wants to hear, right? Alright, so we're going through, we're learning the basics. So welcome to the basics. In Dragon Evo, you and your opponent take turns to play your cards and then use them to attack each other. The first player to defeat the enemy hero card wins. In this case, you must defeat the training dummy to win the game. Real difficult, right? So you place your card. So place a card from your hand on the board, click the card, and then click on a free card slot, or drag the card from your hand and drop it onto, and this is the empty symbol here. So as you can see, there's a lot of symbols here noting different aspects of the game. It's very much if you read a physical rulebook for a card game, they would use a lot of the icons to describe things now as compared to just being prose way back when. So cards from your hand can be placed on any of the 6 empty card slots in the 2 front rows as compared to this back row with your hero here. Placing a card from your hand will cost you action points. Those are noted down here in the bottom left. But don't worry, we'll tell you more about this later. Most cards have to wait until the next turn to attack, so kind of standard for most card games. And remember to place both cards from your hand onto the free empty slots. Once you place your cards, click the ready button to continue. So the way this works is that you get to develop your board, and then you actually get into alternating turns with your opponent. I know we haven't gotten that far yet, but just to give people an idea of what's going on. Obviously, we're in the tutorial, so they're going to give us some tutorial cards, and you know, it's going to be a little bit different than the way the game truly functions. So in this case, we have a forest boar, which right now, so I'm clicking and clicking. So this is placing cards. Good job, you've placed a card on the board. I will call out that there's amusing, like, tongue-in-cheek jokes when you click on stuff on here. So this says, I will remember that. And I'll read the part about what you'll remember. But I do appreciate, and I want to call out the devs for doing this, I do appreciate that they have these little cute, fun things in there. I noticed it the first time I went through, and I thought it was funny. You know, I wasn't rolling on the floor, but, you know, my sides splitting, but it was amusing. I chuckled a little bit. But anyway, as mentioned earlier, placing a card from your hand onto an empty slot on the game board will always cost you 1 action point, regardless of what the card does or symbols on the card. Now, I assume that will change down the line. Nice, everyone gets a trophy moment? Kinda, yeah. Placing cards. When the card is on the board like it is now, you cannot freely move it back into your hand. But if you cannot freely move it back into your hand. But if you change your mind and want to place a different card on the slot instead of the card you just placed, this will not cost you an extra action point. They will simply change places. So if you make a mistake and drag something out. The same goes for moving a card you just placed to a different free slot. This is also free. So this is during that setup portion or when you're playing stuff. So I can change my mind a bit, is what it says down here in case you can't read it because I'm covering it a little bit. Placing cards. However, moving cards that have already been marked as in play will always cost 1 action point every move you make. Cards are marked as in play when your turn ends. This also triggers when marked in triggers the when marked in play event for cards that have this event. So similar to War Cry, Battle Cry, enters play, enters the battlefield, that sort of thing. That's the way I'm interpreting this. When it's marked as in play, all right, you've made your decision. If you played chess, you know, you took your hand off the piece. It is now locked in. Very well. All right, so we have our forest boar, which has snorting charge. It has an attack of 4, and there's a couple other symbols on here that I'm sure the tutorial will explain. But for now, we're going to play our Kartooh. K-A-R-T-O-O-H. I'm going to say that's how you pronounce it. I don't actually know. There's a bunch of other relevant things on the board here, such as these shields that you'll see, but we'll get there. So we hit ready. So now that the training dummy was revealed, we now are able to attack. Action cost. Remember, you can only perform actions while it's your turn. And keep an eye on your gold and action points reserves shown below. So here's our action points. Here's our gold. Each turn, we're going to get 3 gold unless something modifies it. As you can see from the 3 action points and 3 gold counters next to your action points and the gold counters, these replenish each round. But if you run out of them, you cannot perform any more actions in this round. So you can see the +3 here that's a little bit obscured and the +3 here. In regular matches, having cards in play that contribute to your gold and or action points resources is crucial to not run out. So there's a dual resource system here. As mentioned, you have to use action points to play stuff. You're going to have to use action points to get them to do stuff. And you're going to have to expend gold in some scenarios for one or both. Now, one of the interesting things here is that they can also generate resources through their attacks. Managing these things, the resources, they do stick around turn to turn. So if you want to bank action points, you want to bank gold, those are options that you have that allow you to strategically map out several turns in advance. So the card layout. Each card shows its status and effects on your resources. The remaining health is shown in the top left corner. If this reaches 0, it dies and is removed from the board. Pretty standard, right? If the card generates or costs gold or action points each round, this is shown in the top right corner. Now, in this particular case, I think it's going to say it now, the action point cost to place a card on the board is always 1, but most cards have an action that can be performed for a cost. When the card is in play, usually the round after it was placed from your hand. This is shown on the banner in the bottom of the card. So down here, you can see it. This archer tryouts with arrow pierce as the attack, and there are different versions of each card. So you'll see archer tryouts or forest boar or whatever with a different attack, and then it'll have a different attack value and it'll do different things, which I think is a really cool way to both reuse resources, aka like the game resource, notably the art. So it's the same art, but it'll have a different name on there. So that way you could say, oh, well, we know that that's an archer. Well, what version of that archer is it? Oh, it's arrow pierce. Okay, well, that does X, Y, and Z. So in this case, it has 4 ranged attack, which we'll get to shortly, 4 gold, and 1 action point. So it's going to cost you that in order to attack with a range. In the bottom left corner, a gold arrow or melee action icon shows the type of action and its value. Ranged and melee, or range 2 and melee 2 means it will deal 2 health damage when attacking another card, whereas 25 gold means you can add 25 to your resources. So think of it, if you played Magic, if you played the WoW TCG or other card games where you could play a card that then generates you additional resources. Think Llanowar Elves, that sort of thing. But in this case, it's generating gold. Each action can only be performed once per turn and cost a certain amount of gold and or action points. The cost is shown in the bottom right of each card. So that's what I was highlighting earlier about the 4 gold and the action point. So to perform actions, you drag the card over the action target. To attack an opponent's card, drag your card on top and drop it. To attack a row protector, that's what these little shields are, you drag the card onto it. To use a generating or a gold generating or action generating action, drag the card onto the resource row you want to generate and drop it there. You can also click the card once and then click on whatever the symbol is or card to target. So it's click and click or click and drag. You have a couple different ways to target things, which I appreciate. Attack opponent. As mentioned, you must defeat the enemy hero card to win. This time he's alone, so start attacking the row protector in front of the hero card by dragging a card over the row protector icon. Click end turn when you're done, then attack the enemy hero card on the next turn. So as you can see, these row protectors are here. One of the things that was not pointed out there is they prevent ranged attacks from going over them. They don't actually prevent damage. So it's not as though this is, if we had some way to get to this guy, which as stated, you can't. But if it was on him, because some cards will have these innately, it doesn't actually reduce the damage that's done to them. So for example, we're going to punch here. We're going to end turn first. So our opponent's going to get a turn. So we attack here. Okay, so it's probably just explaining this. So row protectors you just attacked are there to protect the cards behind them. As long as the row protector value is 1 or more, you cannot attack the card behind it. Oh, I see. However, the row protectors will not block the cards behind them from attacking you. Cards behind row protectors follow standard rules of melee and range attack, disregarding their own row protector. That makes it harder. One last thing to keep in mind is the row protector value, just as the DMP value on cards only decreases 1 DMP each time they are attacked. So it doesn't matter if I hit it for 1,000,000, it's only reducing it by 1, regardless of the melee or range attack value on the attacking cards. Consider the row protector value as the number of times you must attack to break it. I will do that. So the reason I can't attack with my dude here, the trainer, is because of where I place this guy, which I meant to point out earlier and then I forgot. So because he's in front, I can't actually attack with him over because it's melee. If my trainer was ranged, I could shoot over my guy. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is the reason we're attacking this order. Obviously, we needed to get rid of the protector. We punch it with our dude. We do maximum damage now with this. And we clobber the training dummy. We got him. Victory. Hooray. We managed to make it through tutorial 1. Ready, ranged action. Here's my goblin dude, in case anybody was wondering. Isn't he adorable? Alright, positioning. When placing your cards or attacking your opponent, the empty rows and lanes are there to allow you to strategically position your cards. Positioning correctly will let you attack with your strong cards and at the same time keep your weakest cards protected. Hopefully I'm not blocking too much of this. I'm looking at the stream. I am a little bit. Upkeep and resources. As I mentioned in the first tutorial, some cards generate or use gold when in play. The villager on the board generates a lot of gold each turn, which is great because strong attacks like that of your archer cost gold to use. As you can see, it's 3 here for the archer. This guy's not generating, but point is that this is going to consume gold. Card attack types. There are 2 main card attack types are ranged and melee. Ranged lets you attack over one card, either ours or theirs. Melee attacks need a direct line of sight to function. Try using your archer's ranged attack on the sheep to see how she can attack over the palisades. Once the sheep is dead, go ahead and kill the hero like last time. So same thing, like, we have an open row, so we could attack through here. But as the explainer, the trainer, wanted us to do, we're going to go ahead and hit the sheep here. So this is the one hop. We could also have a character in front here to be able to get through this. So we ended up trading guys there. We have a ton of gold, so it's like, it's not a big deal, obviously. But we could have also just waited and not attacked. It's not a requirement to attack, which is notable to point out given some of the other games that I play and have shown on stream. So we're just going to go through the motions here. Keep attacking the defenseless sheep and the hero card until you win. Yep, we're on it. Looks like we got a little bit of a bug here. A little bit of a bug. Did you notice a card attacking back? Yes, that was unexpected. When a card is attacked, it will attack back for half its own attack value and without modifiers like repeat or spreads. However, cards cannot attack back if they are stunned. That's what this little symbol on here is. Are killed during the attack or if they cannot reach the attacking card. Better watch out then. You can use this to your advantage. Attacking a card that cannot reach you back means it will only take damage and will not give any damage back. So much strategy. Yep. Alright, we'll get to reset here, hopefully. Nope, our dude's going to hang out on their side of the board because we win. GG. So hopefully everybody's following with how the basic rules. We haven't really hit anything all that complex. We're now back into games that will do counterattack damage. So it's kind of a return to form to some extent. We'll get through the last tutorial mission and then we'll start exploring stuff. You've done well so far. Let's just go over a few important things about the cards and the board, and then you'll be ready to venture forth on your own. You probably noticed shield icons on the cards, and in front of the back empty row, we call this a DMP value. DMP has 2 main purposes. Most importantly, it acts as defense against various effects. So this is repeat, this is spread, or this is spread. I forgot what I don't think we know what the others are. It's a defense against attack modifiers and attack effects. You will learn about this in the advanced tutorials. DMP also prevents against attacking any card behind it, making them great protection against ranged attacks. Keep in mind that DMP itself doesn't reduce or prevent damage to the card itself. It only acts as a defense barrier. It's something to keep in mind, and it's definitely something that I didn't realize the first time I went through, because I kind of just clicked through and said, all right, let me do stuff. I just want to play. Because like I said earlier, this was a gifted key, and I was able to play before the official early access release this week. And because it's a shield, I could definitely see people getting tripped up on that. So it's important to keep in mind that this protects against very specific things, not necessarily damage in general. The DMP value decreases each time a card or location is attacked, so it won't last forever. So basically, we just got to push through it. One other important thing about cards and their actions, whenever one card attacks another, the attack card will attack back with its own attack for half the melee or range damage, unless it's stunned before or during the attack, or if it's killed. If the attack card has a gold generating or action generating action, it doesn't attack back, as you kind of expect. Some cards also have special actions that trigger on certain events, such as, I think this is health loss? Health loss when attacked. We'll say that's what it is. It hasn't actually explained what this icon is yet. These will trigger when the event happens, unless the card is stunned. Combining all this to your advantage can be challenging, but very rewarding. All right, we got more to read. Don't worry, you won't have to listen to me read too much longer. To sum it up, attack the hero card to win the game, but make sure you have enough golden action points to play cards and perform actions. Ranged and melee are the main attack types. Ranged attacks let you attack over one card, but melee must either attack from the front row or have a free forwards path from its position to attack. AKA, we can't have it in the back with something in front of it. You can replenish resources using cards with action point or gold actions or upkeep. Use what you learned in these tutorials to try and win against a stronger opponent. Don't forget to check out the advanced tutorial series to learn more. So here we go. So we have a whole lot more cards. This is the setup phase. So we want to, as you can see here, it wasn't really highlighted in the previous tutorials, but you can see in the top right here, this guy generates 10 gold a turn. This villager with a slingshot. Now this villager looting also does it, but it has a different attack. This guy has a ranged attack. Whoop, I'm trying to highlight him. This guy has a ranged attack, whereas this guy's a melee attack. So we're going to try and get them out there. We want to get our resource generation going. This guy's ranged, so you can go in the back. And I think we're going to put one of the archers out, because we can. We'll put out the 9 attack one. So this one will stun itself for a turn. And it costs 8 gold and 2 action points, as compared to these guys where it's going to cost some gold, it's going to cost some action points for them to attack, but they're also generating gold for us. We also notably have a different hero this time, who is ranged. And what does her effect do? So it's attack -1 cost for random own card. So we want to attack with this first. I don't know if this effect happens permanently. But she also is going to stun herself for 2 turns when this happens. You can tell by this little 2 that's down here, and it's kind of obscured by the cursor, but just so people can see it. This guy is going to attack. Do ground dudes attack back for half the damage if they're attacked by a ranged dude? Not unless they are able to get there. So, for example, let's assume for the moment there was a ranged guy here on my opponent's side. They attack my melee guy. I believe, given if we assume the rest of the board is the same, that my guy would attack back, assuming that it didn't die, it didn't get stunned, it didn't, something else didn't happen to it, because there is a clear path. However, if they had a dude in the front blocking, and I'm in the back, and they ranged attack, that's no bueno. I can't get to them, so I will not punch back in that scenario. I hope that made sense, and I hope I'm describing it accurately, and I'm not misrepresenting the functions of the game. Correctly explained? Alright, thank you. I appreciate the, in case anybody's unsure, that you may see that name. Which, by the way, like I said, the devs did graciously grant me an official key. Or official key? That sounds weird. They granted me an EA key. But you probably want to hit up their Discord, the official Dragon Evo Discord. And you can check it out on Steam. So definitely want to head over to there. I'll bring it up as we go through. So the answer is sometimes. To be more succinct, yes. To be more succinct, that's true. So we have 2 actions left. I'm just going to do nothing. I think. I mean, I guess we could attack. We could attack or we could play a guy. We're going to put this guy here to block for our archer. And then we'll save the 1 action point. I'm trying to go through the different things so you can see how all the different stuff happens. Because there's stuff. So as you can see, their guy clobbered our peasant, our peasant, our villager, whatever. And they played a whole bunch of dudes. A whole lot of dudes. So, notably, these characters you can see have DMP on them. So I can't, for example, shoot this guy with the archer, because we have to get through this first. However, we can hit this, the arbalist, because we can get over somebody. So as you can see, it is a legal target for me to hit with this range guy, that was a click and drag. But it highlights here, you can see it can hit these 4 guys. I can't hit this one in the back because of the DMP. I know we already talked about this, but I'm just calling it out because it is something to keep in mind, and it's a lot to call out. Now, notably, this guy also has another effect. So this warrior also affects cards behind the targeted card for 50% damage. So right now he's doing 5. I'm not real clear on whether it rounds up or rounds down, but, you know, you can probably assume it's going to be worst case for you. So the way spells work, or action cards as opposed to minion cards here. So you can see here for Mad Breeze, or similarly for Firecracker here, that when placed, this card is destroyed, and when destroyed, do the thing. So you have to have an open space to play them on, which makes the interaction, the management of your board more interesting. I think there's more there because you have to be cognizant of how you're operating with this stuff. So, we have 4 action points. We're going to go ahead and try and off this archer, which we do relatively easily, but we are stunned for a turn. We're going to hit the Berserker hits for a lot. What is his attack? So this guy has spread, also affects adjacent cards to the targeted card, splitting the damage across them. So he's doing 13, he'll probably do like 7 and 6, so he would get these 2. So what I'm guessing is that this, even though we would hit the thing behind it, because it had the DMP, it was not a legal target. We're going to bounce a thing. If you look at this card, notice there's a melee symbol under the attack value in the lower left. That means the card is a melee attack type. Yes, and you'll learn more about the different attack types later in tutorials, but be aware if there's another card placed in front of this card, you cannot use this card's attack since it cannot attack from behind other cards. It's doing this because we played that specifically in front of this villager. If you plan to use this card to attack your opponent in the next turn, make sure it's not blocked by another card before you press end turn. Yep. So we bounce their big, dangerous guy. We're going to play Firecracker. It's going to deal 2 damage to a random thing, which will remove that. And now we're out of action points, so we have to pass turn. So here comes the Berserker again. And a weapon rack, whatever that does. Each to your turn, melee +1 for all adjacent cards. Range +1 for all adjacent cards. So it's going to buff this guy. But we want to try and clobber this guy. Oh, you're still stunned. So are you. I thought this was going to come off a stun, but it's only been 1 turn. So we're going to try and beat this guy up. So this guy's going to attack back because we didn't eliminate him. But we were able to kill him. We're just going to eliminate their other dudes. You know, the usual board control plan. Not like we really got to worry too much. It is the tutorial after all, but we'll pass turn. So that'll get our range guys, both our hero and our archer, which you can see here is quick shot as compared to archer tryouts. Well, this is archer. This is archer tryouts. String snap versus archer tryout. Strange arrow. I wonder what's so strange about it. What exactly is strange about this arrow? But regardless, we're going to go through, do the thing. So we clear out the weapon rack. We've now opened a path, and as you can see, the effect here allowed it to hit the back. This is worth pointing out. So even though our hero is ranged, it would make for an entertaining video if you were to lose. I have a funny story about that, Doc. We'll talk about that later. You may be asking, my brain froze for a second. You may be asking, well, you have a ranged hero. Why can't you attack their guy? Because you can only attack over one character. So even this middle row is going to be strategically very relevant because you have to be very careful about what you play there. It's obviously even more complex if they were melee because then you can't even have something here. You won't be able to get through. So, since this card was already used, we can't slide it. And that's why it's, you know, making the noise. And it's kind of a funny noise. That's why I keep clicking it. But it's probably only funny to me. Anyway, we're going to hit it with this range character. Hey, Sportive, what's good? And they're down to 3 health, so let's close this one up. Victory! We managed to come through unscathed on the tutorial. Probably would have been funnier if I have to agree with Doc that it would have been funnier if I lost. Even if I was throwing, it would still be funny. But let's see. So, well played. Those games were just to get you familiarized with some of the most basic concepts, not contexts. I don't know why I was going to say that, of Dragon Evo. We managed not lose the tutorial. Yay! Everybody, Kate Rock in the chat. Factions and heroes. There are 3 factions in the game with vastly different playstyles. Your hero card belongs to one of these factions. Never heard of that game? Just came into early access this week, Sportive. Yeah, I had received and I mentioned that's why it's in the stream title, that I received a key for this from the devs, and I really like it. I think it has a lot of potential. And since it's in early access, we were explaining this earlier, there's still some stuff rough around the edges, but it's early access. And it's also an indie development studio, so, you know, shout out to them for putting this all together. All hail the tutorial king. Yup. We managed to get through. All right, so the hero card creator. Clever segue. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is cute. I like this. Choose a faction. Choose one of the factions for your starter deck. Based on your preferred playstyle, then pick one of the available hero cards. Sort of. It's similar in that it's a card game, but this, and once I get through the tutorial, I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to say about the game. Initial impression-wise, and then we'll jump into more stuff. I'll finish reading out this stuff so I don't have to read people are tired of me reading to them. So we'll come back to it momentarily. So you choose one of the factions for your starter deck based on your preferred playstyle, then pick one of the available hero cards. Remember, you can always unlock and buy new cards as you earn gold in-game. While each deck can only contain cards from one faction, you can have as many decks as you like and switch between them every game you play, which is pretty cool. That I don't know, Sportive. Genie, do you know? Is that... Well, I assume you know. Would you be able to answer that? So is the Genie... I'm just going to say... I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm going to say Genie, because it's easier. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. Is Dragon Evo available in French? Or what localizations are there for it? Genie is one of the devs. So shout out for them for hanging out. Alright, so we have our 3 factions while we're waiting on the question for that. Only in English. Okay, gotcha. Well, there's your answer, Sportive. Apologies. So we have our red faction, our blue faction, and then this one. Cards in this faction plays to the strength of ranged attacks and defensive strategies. The cards in this faction plays a game of strength with powerful melee attacks and units with lots of HP. Whereas this one plays a peculiar game of modified attacks, seemingly weak but powerful when you know how to play them. So honestly, personally, I would lean towards this one. Does chat have a preference? We'll give everybody a minute to respond, but if chat has a preference, I'll choose a particular one. I could put a poll up, but it's easier just to have people throw it in chat. I think like I said, I want to lean towards this, but I don't, it doesn't matter. Like, we're probably going to play enough that it's not going to be a big deal. You can browse them all you think. That's true. That's a good point. So, if we go high wins here, these are our 3 options. Let's take a look at this guy. I vote for the one you least want to play. Shocker, Doc. Shocker. Alright. So, each of these, you're going to get the hero card and then a starter deck, and you choose the version of the hero. So we have a ranged version of this guy and then 2 melees. And then you can see the stun effect that's here. So like, this one is a ranged attack that attacks all your opponent's cards, splitting the damage. So you're going to split 3. I guess it will always do 1 to the target and then put the other 2 somewhere else. And the attack, you steal 3 gold from your opponent. This one is your turn, you get 2 gold, but you also stun your targets, but you get stunned for 2 rounds when you attack, as opposed to 1 with this. This one, we're back to 1 round of self-stun, and when attack, plus 7 gold to you, and you attack, you get... So, like, there's a lot of gold generation. Oh, it's not showing the tooltips? I'm looking at it now, so I have to wait for the stream to catch up. Let me actually look at this in OBS. Yeah, in OBS, it's definitely not... You can see my cursor, but when you hover over it, it doesn't... Interesting. So, when I'm reading this out, I'm not just making this stuff up. It says, if you hover over this in-game client, it says stun self for 1 round. So, I can confirm that. It's definitely not showing in OBS. I don't know why that is the case. I can take that offline and try and figure that out. But basically, that's this guy. So let's pick a different hero. Let's look at some of these other ones. So we only have 2 options here, but obviously different things. So each turn, each 2 opponents' turn, you get +1 melee for a random melee card. I wonder if it can give it to itself. Does your hero count as a card? That's a good question. Versus this one, which I don't know what this attack is. Using this card action inflicts this amount of damage on the opponent's card, but I don't know what this symbol is. Oh, it poisons for 2 turns. Okay. So it poisons for 2 turns. Oh, this guy looks cool. Big gladiator looking dude. Or barbarian looking dude. Ooh, what is this? Oh, he damages himself. Oh, uh-oh. Wait, he damages himself 4 times, and when he attacks, he... Wow, so he takes 5? Unless I'm misunderstanding that. Oh, because he applies a bleed. He can apply a bleed. That seems like it would be pretty relevant. Is this person a mage, or do they have a spear? I watched a stream of someone who spent 3 minutes talking well-toned muscle. I mean, my man clearly works out, right? So here's the question: is this a tattoo, or is it like one of those tan things, like where you put something on and then you tan, and then this is untanned skin? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. All right, so. My work here is done. Yep. I mean, look, he's an impressive man. That's all I can say. I don't know, Chad. Is anything jumping out to you? So this -10. So they just loot. You don't steal the gold. You just. Okay, so this attack, when you attack, you'll steal 5 gold, but also they lose 10 for a total of 15. This one, you steal 20 gold and bleed them, but they get a -5 cost to a random card. I wonder if that includes cards in their hand, or is it just card costs, like the attack costs? I'm not really sure, Chad. I'm honestly torn between all these. We might have to take Big Man, just because we were talking about him so much. Maybe we won't. What was... She seems kind of cool. It seems kind of basic for this. Resource denials, X, sound your thing. It is my thing. Like, I am sorely tempted. Who was that on? Was that here? Yeah, that was here. So... Luminar's kind of got me pegged here. We're going to go with this one. We're going to go with this one, despite Doc's protestations about having to choose the hero that I least want to use. We're going to go with this one. So we're going to create a hero card. And the puppy came to hang out. She's hanging out on the couch behind me. Oh, I missed that, Zagina. I clicked too fast. All right, so we got a starter pack here. Got to start. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff. All right, so this is what we get as the starter deck. We got... we can't zoom. So we have an Arbalister Trainee, a Baby Monster Sandworm, Firecracker, Loot, Mad Breeze. Let me see. Is this better? Can you guys sit... Let me check this on OBS real quick. Okay, there we go. You should be able to see this better now, hopefully. That way it's not cutting it off. I think it was cutting it off on the top. Servant, Soldier, some Squires, a Terrible Mirlac Tamer. So, I'm always amused by names like this. Is this guy terrible because he's not good at his job? Or is he terrible because, like, he's a dick? Oh, so, well, the tooltips on the cards were they not showing before either? I know the tool, like, okay, so is this showing, chat? Let me switch. So, like, this doesn't appear as though it's showing. So, it doesn't look like I can show on the stream the icon tooltips, but I can show the tooltips for, like, the card text. He's letting out two Murlocs when he's on the board. How well do you think he's doing? Yeah, that seems pretty bad. Sounds like he kind of sucks at his job. I kind of like the concept. I might give it a try. So, no, however, yeah, unfortunately. So, this is where I do have some other stuff to say. Just searched Dragon Evo on YouTube and found a gameplay about the game. The title was Dragon Evo, the card game EA trailer. Is this related to EA? Well, it's early access. That might be why you're seeing EA Sportive, as opposed to EA, the studio. No, this is, at least as far as I know, this is completely 100% indie. So not like one of the big studios behind it. It does get like abbreviations can sometimes make it complicated, so I definitely can understand the miscommunication there. You can get back to the screen anywhere by clicking the home button. Cool. Important news and announcements. Am I covering those? I'm not. That's good. Whenever anything important happens, such as new tournaments. Just throwing that out there because there's a few people that enjoy tournaments in the stream. Just putting that out there. Yeah, exactly. I figured it was just for early access. But yes, tournaments. Just saying that one more time. Large updates. Or if there are ongoing service issues, you can read about it by clicking here. I don't believe there are any tournaments. I heard my word. Yeah, you almost missed that. just try to mix it in organically. You don't want to just like throw it out there and go all in. You gotta, be a little... choose your cards and decks. Your cards and decks are located up here. From that screen, you can organize and upgrade your cards as well as sell them to get gold. Also nice to know. From the lore book, you can get help if you get stuck, as well as read more about the story and background of everything related to Dragon Evo. Excuse me. Hiccups. I shall read it. It just sounds so regal. There are a couple people that are hanging out. I don't know if they're here tonight, Sport, but I think there were a couple people that were playing in it. I don't remember who exactly it was. There's a couple people in Discord that were hanging out and talking about it. The market. From the market, you can buy card packs, which unlock new cards, as well as other things such as new avatars. To buy new things, you need gold, which you can earn by playing games, completing missions, and or selling cards. Very well, then. Your profile shows your avatar, and see, here's my adorable goblin. Fearsome goblin. Fearsome. He's very intimidating. Your profile shows your avatar and clan information. You can also keep track of your current amount of gold. Playing games. Whenever you want to play a game, whether a single player or multiplayer, you can click the big play button from this screen. How about you let me? There we are. So, that's the tutorial and a little explainer about the UI. Now, I had some thoughts, notably, as you may have noticed, I emphasized the potential tournament aspect. This is primarily a competitive-oriented, competitive-minded stream. The regulars will know that. I don't have any problem, and I absolutely 100% support anybody who considers themselves a casual or prefers that sort of line of play, but I happen to lean more into the competitive end. So the idea of there being tournaments for this is intensely exciting for me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. At this point in time, as far as I know, and chat can correct me if somebody has other details, there isn't anything set right now, but let's keep our eyes and ears open. So as mentioned before, this key was given to me by the devs, so full disclosure there, but you do want to head over to their official Discord, check it out on Steam, so that way you can take a peek, decide for yourself, talk to other people in the community. It literally came out this week. At the time of this recording, we're live on stream. You had me a tournament? I thought I might. I thought I might. At the time of this stream, this live stream, the game has officially been out in early access well, I'm obscuring it, but in the below me, in the bottom corner underneath where I have the pasta tier list video. If we get enough subscribers, pasta tier list video. If you look down there, it says early access. As I mentioned before, and it even says here, welcome to early access. The game is not fully released, so it's important to try and get its legs under it here. So, other points I wanted to make. You may have noticed as we were going through, and both with the starter deck and we were going through the tutorial, there isn't really a deck. You just have everything, which is very exciting. There's been a number of games that I've been playing as of late physically, and as much as you can. It's like my wife and I. That's it. As well as digitally, that seem to be going this route where you start out with Magic and it's 60 card decks, and then maybe 100 if you play Commander or whatever. And then over time, we saw more games of 40 card decks. Then we've, in more recent times, seen games with like 25 and 20 card decks. I didn't even count how many cards were in this deck. So we're going to go into the card collection real quick. What's the matter, baby? Is mommy up there? Yeah, go get her. The dog heard my wife upstairs. My wife has taken to, we've been working on dismantling the kitchen. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, this is a card collection. This is where you learn more about your cards, upgrade, or sell them. Groovy. All your cards are grouped based on their type. The first three categories, heroes, regular cards, and equipment cards, are used to build your deck. Action cards, structure cards, and event cards are available regardless of which deck you're playing with. We haven't talked about some of those yet. Makes sense. I see new card game. I'm interested. It's pretty interesting, Midge. So one thing, if Zagini's still hanging out in chat, that we didn't talk about is the monetization model. If Zagini's still in chat and can explain it, elaborate on it, maybe worth, and then I'll state it for the video, but I'm going to keep going through this in the meantime, and then we'll circle back to it. When this tutorial ends, click through each category to learn more about the different cards. I will. This collection view is not used to create or manage your decks. You can manage your starter deck as well as create new decks to experiment with new strategies or try out new cards by clicking on the deck builder. Did someone say tournament? So here's our starter deck. Ooh, it has a power ranking. I didn't know this was here. Higher value means stronger deck. I wonder how this is calculated. That's actually kind of cool. I imagine, like, realistically, is this going to matter in a quote-unquote competitive environment? Probably not, but it is kind of a cool thing to see. I'd be very curious how this is calculated. I don't believe I saw this before. All right, we're going to show/edit the deck. This is the deck builder. From the screen, you group up to 16 cards in a card deck, which you will then play multiplayer games, AI matches, or single-player adventures. The deck builder consists of 3 parts: your deck of cards, the list of available cards, and a card details sideboard. Sidebar, not sideboard. Deck building, woo! Shout out to my Coltrane fans. The cards currently in your deck or sorted and shown in this list. Cards currently in your deck is sorted. Seems like strange grammar. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm tired. Card and deck power is calculated based on an assigned value for different card properties. Is that a public algorithm, Zagini? Like, is that something that somebody could, I guess, contest the score of a card if they really wanted to? It's not really an important thing. I'm just curious. Where there are buttons to add or remove them from the deck. You can also double-click a card in this list to quickly remove it from your deck. I love deck building! Above your deck cards, you can see important details about your deck, such as its calculated power, how much gold it potentially generates, and more. That's pretty cool. I like that. It can be public. There's no reason to hide it. We just haven't had anyone ask yet. Okay, cool. I mean, I would say throw it in the Discord, because that's just something I'm curious about. It would be fun to debate some of those things, although I hope everybody keeps it as fun and doesn't, you know... We've had some of those discussions. These are numbers and rankings. Yeah, I am. I like spreadsheets and messing around with spreadsheets. I get it. Like, that's not everybody's thing. I understand, but it is what it is. In the middle of your screen, all the cards from your collection can be added to the deck. That can be added to the deck are shown. That's actually cool that it filters it for you. Remember that you can only add cards from the World faction or the same faction as your hero card. So the World presumably is neutral here. So other cards are not shown here. To add a card to your deck, you either double-click it or click it once and add to deck. Got it. I shall put them in a spreadsheet. Sweet. Sweet. To help you find exactly the cards you want, use the filter bar at the top and search for cards. Cool. When you're satisfied with your deck, remember to click the Save Deck button. If you want to remove the deck, click the Delete button. We'll double check before we delete it just to be sure. Get back to list of cards, use Back to List. I am ready. So, one thing I failed to call out before. So, this game is not, repeat, not free to play. In fact, well, right now it's on sale as the EA promo. For it's $8.99, and presumably plus tax, whatever. Normally $9.99. So, to my knowledge, you will not be able to buy packs and stuff. Is that accurate? I hope I'm not misstating that, but I believe that to be the case. Like, you can get these for gold, but you accrue gold through in-game actions. Playing games against other people, playing games against whatever. Well, there you have it. We have a confirmed chat. No microtransactions. So you are getting cards by playing. You're playing people, you're running the campaign, you're playing against the AI, which is in some ways redundant with some of the other parts, but whatever. You get the idea. You buy the game, the cards are there, you unlock the cards. That's how it works. I think that's worth calling out because the current ecosystem for card games is primarily free-to-play games and then various microtransactions, either for cosmetics or for, you know, buying packs or whatever. There's a variety of different models there. So this is notably different, and it's worth calling out here. The spender here refers to in-game spending, but not for real-world money. So the only dollars and cents that will come out of your bank account for anything in Dragon Evo is for the initial purchase of the game. Any further unlocks are strictly tied to in-game progression. Is that an accurate statement? I hope so, because that was my understanding coming in, and I got thrown for a loop for a second. There's nothing else to pay for. You pay the price of the game. Everything else is tied to in-game progression. Okay, and that's what it's worth repeating again that is the case. So to your point, Sportive, so we buy the game, then everything else is free to play. I mean, I wouldn't label it free to play, but yes, it is unlockable in-game. So it's like if you bought an old video game. When I say old, like probably 15 years ago, where you just buy it and then the only stuff that's going to be there is in the game. Which, again, it's worth calling out that it's a different model than the route a lot of other games are trying to take. yes, you will have to invest the time to unlock stuff. But if you're going to be playing the game, you're going to do that anyway. And I think the barrier to entry ultimately, let's be real, this was a Penny Arcade comic years ago. And I think it was about League of Legends, but I could be wrong. But it was the two main characters joking to each other, saying, man, the best thing about League of Legends, or whatever game it was, the best thing about League of Legends is that it's free to play, right? And then the other guy goes, yeah, it's so free. And then there's a frame where they're staring at each other, and then the one goes, so how much did you spend? And the other one's $64,000. And realistically, I think we've all seen that or been in that position when it comes to free-to-play games where it's, oh, it's so free, except for all the money I spent. I'll go over the Steam page tomorrow. It's later to make sure the descriptions are up to date, but it's pay once, get everything. Gotcha. Sounds good. Well, then, I am describing it correctly. I'll just have to do a little bit of work with the editing for this for YouTube, make sure that I'm presenting it appropriately. But I think that's worth pointing out to everybody who's hanging out in chat. So we have some stuff here. We have, where's our gold count? We have a whopping 4 gold. We have a whopping 4 gold. I don't know if you can really make it out here, but we have 4 gold here. So we can't quite get any of these yet. So not the give you a taste selling drugs model. Yeah, not that, Doc. Not that. And here's the thing. I'm not a fan of the free-to-play model. I don't like it. I mean, I get it, and especially in the realm of card games, you know, there's a very long discussion about this, so I don't want to beat it to death right this second. But I can absolutely respect the idea of, look, we're making a game. Here is the game. Now, there's a barrier there of you have to shell out the money up front as compared to, you know, the free-to-play, like as Doc put it. You get a taste. But it's commendable to just, here's the stuff. Now, again, look, I got this key. It was given to me. I know I keep repeating that, but I want to make sure, get it out there. But I personally see right now with the, you know, 4 hours or whatever that I've spent in this so far, however much time I put into it, I see a lot of potential in this game, both in what's being stated, you know, about the game from the devs in their Discord, on Steam, in this chat, in interactions with them, on Twitter, as well as what I'm seeing from a gameplay perspective. I see a lot of potential in how the game plays out, the economy management, the future for tournaments, that sort of thing. I'm very excited to dive into it. Now, again, this is early access. Early access, and I'm treating it as a true early access title, meaning that it's still rough around the edges. Not all the paint's applied, that sort of thing. There's still stuff to be corrected, possibly balance change, whatever, those sort of things. Take it with a grain of salt, but we're going to run through some stuff and give people a taste. I mean, if I like the game, I'll buy it. I'm here tournaments and I'm excited, you know, my hosting. Yeah, exactly, Midge. We're game developers, not dealers. Yes, that exactly. So, yeah, we're going to try and run through. We're going to run through some of the campaign stuff. You can see that there's a quest system. There are more tutorials to go through. There are other things that we can do. We're just going to kind of, you know, we'll learn. We'll experience. So, as you can see, there's single player, there's multiplayer. If we go into play multiplayer, you do ranked, unranked, and friendly. For the purposes, personally, and I don't know, I have no visibility into the back end as far as metrics or anything. Personally, I would probably collapse these two queues just from experience of, you know, splitting the queues causes weird things unless you have, and I played some games that do this, where effectively it shows 2 queues, but they're one in the same in the back, and then it's just a matter of whether you lose points or not, ranked or unranked. I don't know if that's the case, but you can play people to get gold and earn card packs. You get no rewards from ranked. Notable. Challenge me. Am I okay with the starter deck? You're just gonna mop the floor with me. I think this is where we go for the other tutorial. Unless learn and practice. So unranked is here again, AI match, and then here's the rest of the tutorial. Or repeating the tutorial. We're just kind of poking around the UI, and then we'll come back to stuff. So, you know, we got our change log here, which is cool. It's going to tell you when everything happens. We did the tutorial thing. Early access. By the way, Discord. Like I mentioned before, you probably want to join the official Discord. It's also up here, obviously. Let's see. Oh, here's the counter for when you get free packs. There's a countdown for it. So right now it's like every 15 minutes. Is that really the case? It's every 15 minutes? I didn't realize it was that fast. That's a pretty worthwhile reason to continue coming back to the client. Even if they're, you know, obviously, I don't know what the numbers are on this. I'm assuming that the free packs you're getting every 15 minutes aren't quite as robust. 30 minutes? Ah, well, for me, time flies. Chat will tell you I love the sound of my own voice. Or was it counting down in the background? Like, does it start the timer from when you click it? Or is it just, it's always running? It's probably longer. We've been waffling for a while. Exciting 15 minutes? Well, I appreciate that. You don't have to worry about making me feel good. Chad loves to crap on me all the time. I work from home. I could just set a reminder, collect packs fair. It starts over every time you open it. Okay, so the timer starts as soon as you open. You do love to talk. I love the sound of my own voice. You can ask my wife. She's tired of hearing it. I don't know if you heard her. She can hear me, but I don't think the mic can pick up her. See, that's the advantage. I can set the sound gating and stuff so you can't hear her. Stuck with me, chat. Anyway. So we got another tutorial thing in here. Adventures, which are, you know, take on a single adventure for great challenge and even greater rewards. Match your decks and cards against mighty opponents roaming the lands of Tyranneer. Tyranneer? I don't know how to pronounce that. Free packs are basically just potions, though. Just a little booster for one game when you get back after a while. Okay, so there's no actual cards in the in the packs themselves. Gotcha. Yeah, we haven't actually touched on the structures or the potions yet, but obviously Chad has seen the potions pop up on screen. They'll come up, and we'll probably try and force usage of one as we go through them. So let's jump into the story. Let's jump into the story. The campaign map. This is the campaign map where you can play through the entire Dragon Evo story. To match the story, campaign games are played with a predefined deck and not your own cards. Makes sense? Each faction has their own exciting story to play through. You can choose which faction story to play through by choosing a faction from this selector. I like that. Each campaign consists of several chapters, and you have to finish each part of the chapter before continuing to the next one. Well, you know, that would be cheating otherwise. You can read the end of the book. I did that a lot. Wait, we're supposed to watch you? I just sort of treat you like a radio station? Hey, the view still counts, Doc. It's kind of like listening to music on YouTube or something, which... anybody else miss just having music? Just having a file? It doesn't have to be on a CD, just like having the file. Disclaimer, the campaign is still a work in progress, so keep that in mind with regards to balancing cards, etc. We've just this week started to redo a lot of the chapters. Fair. And that, you know, reiterates the point that, again, this is early access. And it's not early access in the sense that a lot of big studios treat early access where... Remember the Hearthstone beta? The game was released. Like, let's be real. The game, and that's the case with a lot of other games. They're released when they're in beta or early access. Where things are still happening. Things are still going on behind the scenes here. This is like a live podcast. I'm digging it. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, my wife and I used to do podcasts for other games, and we still have ambitions to start it up again for a number of different things. Maybe this will be the one. I don't know. I would love to do other gaming podcasts and stuff and shows on here. I've hosted them on Twitch. It's a fun thing. Yeah, all the Led Zeppelin songs, just throw it on shuffle and do whatever you need to do. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I still have the songs. It's just like, it's such a pain in the neck that I don't even really have a good music player on my phone because it forces you into YouTube Music, which means you need to upload your songs there, or I have to find some third-party thing. It's just such a pain in the neck. But one of many digressions that will surely happen. Anyway, the Shield of the End. So wait, are we going to start with the blue faction, the red faction, or this one? We'll just go in order. We'll go in order. I think that'll make it easier. The Devouring Expanse, the Creator's Waters, the Furious, Night Marches, Tharak Woods, the Bellowing Sea, Tarankota, Drouda, the Snowdrop Mountains, Farcross City, and Pass of the Lost. Interesting. I don't know why, but the Pass of the Lost makes me think of the Never-Ending Story. Shout out to my Falcor fans. I don't know why that made me think of the Never-Ending Story, but I read that and I'm just like, Falcor just popped in my head. Anyway, another digression down. So, Shield of the Innocent. Today's the day you make your escape. Today's the day you stop doing what you're told and start doing what you know is right. Today's the day you stop being the Emperor's pawn. For too long, you've convinced yourself that your deep allegiance to the Rutai nation requires unquestioning loyalty to the Emperor. Too many had to suffer, to fall, to die, to open your eyes to the truth. The Emperor is the true enemy to the Rutai. Not these other tribes he's hell-bent on eradicating. You've raised an army for him. Why not do it for yourself? Ambitious, perhaps, but necessary. You are no longer the Emperor's sworn sword. You are the shield protecting the innocent. Atreyu! Yeah, every time... every time that comes up, and we talk about Never-Ending Story... Sorry, we have to do this story. Every time it comes up, and I don't know if my wife can hear me right now. I don't know if she's still above me. But every time we talk about it, because we both love that movie, I'll just look at her, and I stare at her long enough. And eventually, the horse scene pops into her head. And then she just grimaces at me and walks out of the room. Because, like, look, it's a sad scene. Funny part is the iPhone was created because Steve didn't want to have to carry around a camera phone and an iPod, and now we need an iPod. Yeah, well, I guess on an iPhone you're in less trouble. I have an Android, so it's Google's a pain in the ass. Not that Apple isn't either, but, you know. Anyway. Safety in numbers. Recruit like-minded Rutai to help you escape. I hope I'm pronouncing the faction correctly. A likely lad. Oh, this guy looks nasty. He looks cool. He looks mean. Can I scroll this? Oh, I can. All right. This horse... Oh, you can't see it. You're not going to be able to see it. It's behind me. All right, so spoiler alert for the future. There's like a demon horse in the future, chat. I'm going to describe it as a demon horse. I don't know if that's actually true. But it's coming soon, as you can see here. Coming soon. I don't know if that means it's because I haven't unlocked it yet or because it's not ready, because as pointed out earlier, it's still a work in progress for the campaign. So we're going to do this piece. A likely lad, you stroll through the busy market, keen eyes scanning the sellers for likely allies. Farmers crippled by the Emperor's grain taxes. Foreign traders hawking inferior wares, their fine silks and perfumes embargoed and held in the Emperor's docks indefinitely. Is the looming threat of poverty enough, or would they sell you out for speaking ill of the Emperor, hoping to secure their business by proving their commitment to his cause? I think we managed to lock down the unfinished chapters. That's somewhat comforting, at least. Hey, one step at a time. One step at a time. A commotion catches your eye. A red-headed boy you vaguely recognize begging for mercy as a burly soldier brushes a blade against the boy's cheek. Stop spreading your lies, the soldier says savagely. The boy tells tall tales for coins and scraps you remember now. Elaborate yarns of the days of dragons and dragon slayers. Of course, the Emperor looks only to the future. Wouldn't do to have the people recalling a time when dragons were more than science experiments and war machines. Perhaps it's time people remember. Not to talk crap on you, but that goblin picture seems pretty accurate. I think my man needs a little more facial hair, and then we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't tell him about the avatars in the market. Uh-oh. There's more stuff. All right, so what do we got here? We got a bunch of new cards. Ooh, this is kind of cool. I like this artwork. All right, so chat, can you see now the card tooltips? Yeah, it looks like you can, so. All right, so we have a slashing soldier over here. They have 2 cards in hand. I like that they pop out here. One thing, So something that comes up constantly when I'm playing other games is a common unlock for card games is you get new card backs, right? Except most of the time you can't see your own card backs because, you know, you're looking at your cards. So it's really for your opponent, you know, to show off for your opponent. But then in many games, it's like they obscure the card backs at least halfway, maybe more. So you can't even really see it and enjoy it. Point being is I think that this is valuable that you can do this. I don't know if this is intentional or if this is unrelated, but it's cool that, you know, you can do this. Anyway, minor digression aside. All right, so the barrel. When marked in play, +2 action cost for any card behind it. Or +2 AP cost for any card behind it. When destroyed, stun all attacking cards for 1 round. Okay, interesting. The boy, Burning Soul. When attacked, -3 to that card. When killed, -25 to... Oh, God, so we need to protect this kid. We'll probably have to slap a barrel down in front of him. We actually need to move this barrel because we can't attack as we're melee. When attack, +1 self. Whoa. Is this a playable... Like, we can collect this champion? This hero? Because that would be insane. Yeah, that's true, Doc. We spent a day and a half finding ways to show off card backsides. Thanks for noticing. Are you serious? Well, I do appreciate it in all seriousness, because I really didn't know that. I don't understand in a lot of card games, like, you put a lot of effort, like, the developers and artists put a lot of effort into creating this stuff, and then players spend money to get it. In this case, it, you know, would be part and parcel of the game, but, you know, it's still there. And then you hide it. It seems silly, but I don't know. Obviously, it's not just me, so. We have Frighten. When destroyed, -1 for all opponents' melee cards in play when places. So this is effectively a spell. We're going to wait until they play stuff. The barrel we want to slap in front of this guy, so basically we're just doing this. Maybe we want this kid exposed so that he can actually attack? I'm not sure. We had an artist create card backsides, and some of them are so gorgeous, I can't wait to show more. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him. But can we can move the barrel. So we'll move the barrel. We're going to go punch this. So this guy has slashing attack or double attack. He attacks twice is the point. He's going to attack twice for 3. Do we move the barrel back? Wait, we can move the barrel multiple times? I mean, we don't have anything else to spend our action points on, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, new card game, motherfucker. This is Dragon Evo, so I was given a key by the devs. It's in early access, and it's on Steam right now. And we're trying it out. We're playing we ran through the tutorial, and now we're running the first mission of the campaign. So they have 2 melee guys. This guy has... What is this? So this guy hits things behind it. So I wonder, we are obviously behind the barrel, but are we behind from how the card sees it, or do we have to be directly behind? And this guy just has a plain 4 attack. So we're going to give them all -1 attack. Wait, what? It reduced our guy. Why didn't it reduce their guys? Behind is behind. Be careful. Gotcha. Okay. This guy has 11 health. This is a lot. Oh, I timed out on my turn. I didn't do anything because I was busy talking. Yeah, exactly, Doc. Exactly. Alright, so we could be in trouble here. We could be in trouble here because we accidentally debuffed our own dude. Which, as you would imagine, is probably not a good idea. So if we... I don't know what their attack priority is going to be. So this guy will actually kill this guy now, and won't take any damage back. Because we actually killed it. Since we skipped a turn there, we may end up dying, to be honest. Twin Hour. So as you'll notice, we did do damage to the enemy, but we also removed a DMP here. Their attack priority will take you out. In this case, it's probably going to be a close call. Gotcha. So why did I not take down... I mean, this is obviously a bug that it's not going back, but did the barrel prevent me from it hitting them? Where's the barrel? I don't see the barrel. I'm trying to figure out why I didn't take damage back here. Okay, so this counts as being attacked even when it's counter-attacked. That's no... So this says when it's attacked, -3 of the card... Interesting. Oh, you know what? Did it hit the DMP there? And that's why I didn't take damage? That's probably why. Even on counterattack, okay. I was interpreting it as only when they're on the offensive. Oh, I clicked on the emote, apparently. So we got hit here, so our attack increased. We popped that with the kid. The AI's talking trash. So we only took one there. So it must round down, because again, you don't... When you are counterattacking, as in you got attacked and you're attacking back, this enemy, the soldier, has a repeating attack where they normally hit twice, but they don't do that when they're defending. How dare the AI talk trash, that's our job, yep. Your hero's behind the row protector so no one can reach her yet. Well, now they can't. Yes. So that's what I was missing earlier, is that we still had this active when we first punched it. So we're going to clobber this guy. Just crunch him. This hero, in like real talk, seems kind of insane if it's an actual acquirable hero. It rounds down. We're discussing in dev chats whether to be rounding up instead. Gotcha. It would be easier to see if she wasn't hugging the enemy in the middle of the board. True. True. Hey, we got a victory loot pack. Can we open it now? No. Can we continue? Because the other ones were under construction. Familiar with Marketplace chases the... Oh. You flee the chaos at the market together, the boy scampering under a wooden vegetable stand near the market entrance. He crouches, holding up the stall's cloth cover, beckoning you under. Quickly, the boy says. No one will look for us here. Okay. I'll take your word on it. You watch his face in the half-light, breathing softly, trying to ignore the cramp in your calves and the ache in your spine. The boy has been here before, fleeing the soldiers, lying here, waiting in a small musty space, listening for footsteps outside. The space is perfect for him. Tiny slip of a thing that he is, but confined and difficult for you, particularly with the added bulk of your armor. You daren't move in case the clank of a gauntlet on a breastplate reveals your position. I'm sure that's what happens momentarily. The whites of the boy's wide, frightened eyes are like torches in the dimness. You wish you could think of something to say to reassure him, if only to still his rapid, panting breath. The sound fills the space until it's deafening. The stand's cloth stirs. You freeze. There are no feet moving outside. It must be a breeze. Nothing more. You swallow, tensing, cursing your paranoia. The cloth lifts, a soldier's face peering in at you. You hired him. You taught him to hold the sword and helped him find boots that would fit his small, narrow feet. Perhaps he remembers that finally. Perhaps. They're in here. Well, I'll take that as a no. Man, guy snitched. The continue button wasn't supposed to be available since the mission is locked. How dare you hack the game? Ah, we're finding all the secrets. Okay, so this didn't come up. This is in the advanced tutorials, I believe. But you can select events, and they do different things. They happen at a predetermined time once per game. Honestly, I don't remember exactly what turn they happen on, but, you know, you get the idea. So, Twin Hour is when placing any card, spawn a clone of itself onto any free empty slots. Versus Fresh Water, when placing a card, +2 melee attack for that card. I don't even know if we have cards. Like, I don't even know if we're going to get any. I was about to say, oh, the kid got promoted. He can now do extra attack. Wait, didn't he have 10 health before? Does he keeps his health? Oh, that's going to be bad. The randomly during a match header kind of gives it fair. What are we doing here? Never have few fought for so little and lost so much. I'm telling you, this AI is savage. Alright, so this guy has the hit stuff behind it again. What is this? It's a level 3 card. Alright, so they have a squire and a town folk person. So we'll eliminate you. If they're going to come after me, then we just punch this guy, right? I guess we're just doing this, and we'll see what happens. See, if this mission was finished, you'd probably have cards. You're in uncharted waters. Fair. I wasn't sure if this is... Because going through campaigns like this, it's always possible that, no, this is intended. You're not supposed to have any cards. Just good luck. Creek, paddle. Yep. Wait, what is the AI doing? It just moved and passed. So yeah, chat, you're getting a sneak peek. World first reveal here on Random Slots. How about that? So these guys are not counterattacking my DMP, which I thought they were supposed to. Alright, so the AI is coming after us now. I don't think we even want to attack with this kid, because, like, he's going to, we're just going to do it. Whatever. That's fair. I mean, I could see maybe the very first mission or two having no cards, and then, you know, you just increase the amount of resources you have. Like, to me, that logically makes sense. I mean, I played a lot of video games and a lot of card games. It makes sense to, you start out with not much, and then you get more. Like, that seems logical. But people are upset. People are upset. 67% chance you lose since it's not finished. Fair. It's not unlikely, Doc, but then again, maybe it is kind of unlikely. We got him. We got there. All right. So since these are not officially supposed to be there, I had just hit next because I was like, oh, well, let's do it. So as you can see, Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 are coming soon. That's the idea of the campaign. You're building your army or your deck, so you start small and build up. See, like, that's, to me, how the campaign should work. Because the way I look at a campaign most of the time is, yes, the single player is fun. It's fun to play through once, and then probably once with each faction, right? But the main thing is that it's tutorial 2.0 in general, where the quote-unquote real game is playing against other people. I mean, you could play against the AI, you could do challenges, and I have no problem with those things existing. Like we talked about earlier, people want to be on the more casual end of things. Perfectly fine. Enjoy the game however you want to enjoy it. But for me, I look at campaigns, and this is true across many genres, not just card games, as it's the extended tutorial where they can get, the developers can get you familiarized with the various aspects. The single-player adventures let you play your own decks instead. Gotcha, gotcha. So that's a taste of the campaign, chat. We apparently have completed the coming soon one. We may be able to get into the other ones, but if we're not supposed to see them yet, we're not supposed to see them. Campaign will also give you cards to use in your own decks. It's part of the progression system based around the story. Gotcha. I mean, I'm definitely going to play through the campaign on my own. Like, once it's there, I'll end up streaming it, I'm sure, or at very least recording it and then loading it to YouTube because I think it would be fun. Now, right now... Okay, so there are different mission number one, I mean, for each of these. I don't know what this thing is. I thought it was a lion, and then I looked at it closer, and I'm like, I don't... Is this mechanical or biological? I'm not even sure. And then the last one... We're back to regular soldiers again, instead of whatever this monster was. But they do have... It looks like they're going to be slightly different missions. Obviously, I wasn't expecting the campaign you're playing the identical thing. It's a different story for each one. That's a Mirlac wolf. Okay. Okay. So is Mirlac... Is it a type or a place within the world? Like, is it a wolf from the Mirlac region? As opposed to a sparkling wolf? Don't let your terrible Mirlac tamer watch them. Good call. Good call. Or is it like... It's like a dire wolf is a Mirlac wolf. I mean, that's not really the same, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's a special kind of wolf as opposed to a geographical relation for the wolf. I'm just curious. So, since we called that out earlier, going back to the shop, so there are hero packs here. Looks like 400 gold. We have 19 to our name right now. I don't have any clue right now what the curve is, like how quickly you can expect to unlock everything. When we're looking at the campaign, so now that we have, say, oh, I want to get a new hero. Plus 400 for one of the starters. So we'll do this, look at the story. So it's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 25, 50, 70. So it's 100 gold for Chapter 1. Presumably it's going to be similar for Chapter 2 and 3. Maybe it'll be a little bit higher. So you don't quite go one chapter to one hero. At least right now. I don't know how much of that is subject to change. I'm not the lore expert, so it's probably best if I not try to explain it. The lore book explains it somewhat, I think. Here's the lore book. Story and lore. So there are 4 races, it looks like. There are creatures, history, Dragon Evo factions, locations, characters and heroes, and world. Locations. Well, this is still a seemingly to be completed. So, like we were saying, early access, this is stuff that's just... They're building out the client. Which, again, like we called out before, because it's not a... Oh, we get our free pack again. Because it's not, you know, some enormous studio, this is an indie studio, they're treating it the way that I think EA early access is supposed to be done. Not, my game is done, I'm getting money out of you, even though I'm still fixing things. It's instead, like, they are building stuff out. So we're going to open our victory loot packs that we got earlier. So we got some health potions, which we didn't actually get to use, and we also got another servant. So this guy generates not only gold automatically, as you can see by the +3 gold here, it also gives you action points, which, as you saw, maybe not in the story mission, but in the, I think the last tutorial, it can very much be a challenge to ensure that, oh, well, I have a full board, but I'm constricted by my resource count, not just for playing cards, but once they're in play and actually activating them. So having these sort of generators is pretty important, but it's not necessarily generating as much gold as, say, one of the villagers who are generating like 10. So I think that it's a cool dichotomy, a cool spread for how these are broken up. Alright, so we have an Arbalister trainee, another servant, and some potions. So let's take a peek at our cards here. So we have Card details. This is the card details screen that shows detailed information about your card, such as type, action, information, and a lot more. I like that. I do like that, actually. From here, you can also upgrade or sell your card. Upgrading cards will increase many of their properties, making them stronger and more effective against your opponents. Okay. So that's a detail that we're going to have to explore more. Upgrade cost. Upgrading a card has a cost. It costs one card of the same type as well as gold. The gold cost increases as your card is upgraded. I better get some. That is true. If you need more gold, you can always sell cards you don't use or need. If a card is sold or used as payment for an upgrade, it is permanently removed from your collection. Now that's notable because, again, you're not going to be sinking in more dollars after you purchase the game. So it's going to be, you got to play more games to be able to do this stuff. So in this case, to upgrade it, we need a card and 15 gold. We do have 15 gold, but do we have an extra? Because it was indicating that we need another card of the same type. So presumably in this case, another hero. Okay, yeah. So I was mostly hitting it just to see what it would do, the fact that we don't have a spare. So upgrading your hero by merging with a normal or power level card. Select a card from the list below and use it as payment for upgrading the card in the pane. So it doesn't indicate what happens, at least as far as I can tell, when it upgrades. But it is notable that someone could have the identical Tiento, this hero, as you, and yours or theirs could just be straight up better. But we don't quite know. It would be nice if, and I'm sure this is mapped out. I don't know if it is, but I'm sure it's mapped out in the UI to include, this is what the next level will be. Or, you know, these are all the levels. And I'm sure there's a maximum on this. I don't know what it is, but, again, you can hit up the official Discord and maybe throw some questions there to see what the story is. So let's go back. Let's take a look at what's in this deck. I'm double clicking on it and then closing the menu. So we don't really have a whole lot of spare stuff, but we have, let's see, soldier. So did we put this, did we take the soldier out when we did that? Yeah, we did. Oh, so double-clicking it here will also remove it. I think they said that earlier, but I misunderstood. I thought it was going to be double-click on the list to remove, double-click on the card to add. This is a power 14 card. Now, presumably, since we can upgrade them, like all the actual cards, there's... we got to be cognizant of that. Now, we can have three... We have 3 squires. How many can we have? How do we know how many we own? I mean, presumably this means, when it's highlighted, that means that's the maximum number it can have in the deck. But, like, there are 3 squires here. How do we know how many squires we have? Oh, there's 3 here. Okay. So they're not stacked. I was expecting them to be stacked. That's why I was a little taken aback by this. Wait, what does this dude do? This dude gives you 5 action points? I mean, it costs 20 gold, but, like... that seems pretty good. The deck builder still needs some love and sorting, grouping a bunch more of the filters we introduced yesterday is the first step. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I'm pointing stuff out, but I don't want people to interpret it as, oh, well, man, there's so many problems. No, like, look. Yes, there are things that need to get changed, okay? They'll get changed. We're going to cut this. Put in the Arbalister. Probably want another... How many generating things do we have? We have 1 town people. That sounds weird to say. We have 1 town people. That's a strange sentence. We have 1 servant. What does peculiar mushroom do? Ooh, we have a friend. We will add friend. Awesome. Spawns a clone of itself and we poison. What does poison do? So it doesn't look like we can see this from here. Let's take a look at the lore book. Because we saw another card with poison. Card mechanics? Attack modifiers. Nope. Attack effects. Poison, there it is. Poison will not cause harm in itself, but stop the affected card from being able to use their own effects or modifiers. Poison will get reduced by 1 each round automatically. Poison can be removed by using items such as medication. Okay. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Meant to go back in here. So poison seems like it's going to be... So wait a second. Let's say I poison something that has a self-stun. Does that prevent it? Like, does that count as an effect? Because that seems like it could be dangerous. Ah, interesting. So it could be a double-edged sword. If your opponent manages to tag this dude. I mean, we can try it. Or we'll say it. We'll just run with this. Whatever. So one thing that I think people who play some other games will appreciate about this... at least I believe this was the case before. And if it makes a liar out of me, then womp womp. But it will kick over to play AI if you wait in queue long enough. It seems that no one could play right now. Would you like to continue searching for a little while or match up against an AI opponent? We'll start playing right meow. Right meow. Which, I mean, is relevant in the infancy stages. And in general, just so that people, you know, I want to get on, I want to play a game. Let's do it right now. Alright, event cards. So here we go. Event cards. At the start of each game, players get to choose one of their unlocked event cards to add to their draw pool, but you don't get to decide when the event card is played. You also don't get to see which event card your opponent has picked, adding to the tension during the game. This mixes things up. You initially start with 2 unlocked event cards, but you can buy research packs to unlock new event cards. At the start of each match, the game picks 3 random event cards from those you have unlocked, and you get to choose which one is played during the game. Hold your mouse over each event card to see what it does. So this is interesting. Because obviously we only saw like the 2 before, so I didn't know how we were getting them. Research packs are gone? Okay. Forget I ever said that. That never happened, chat. Or anybody out there on YouTube. This part, ignore. Pretend that's not there. So how do we acquire new events then, Zagini? Keep in mind that events and their effects usually only last for 1 turn, so choose the one that fits your strategy best. Let me do it. Alright, so we have Fresh Water. And we have Twin Hour. It would be nice to be able to hide this, but, you know, UI limitations as it stands right now. So we're going to do Twin Hour. Because I don't... Actually, I think we have enough melee stuff. I think we have enough melee stuff to do this. I don't remember exactly how many are there, but notably, and I pointed this out earlier, you start with your whole deck in your hand, your deck, which I think is really cool. Like, that you get to start out in this fashion. We're going to go with the town people. We're going to start with this guy. So he doesn't have an actual attack. He stuns people for 3 rounds when he attacks. He's also going to self-stun for 2 rounds. And we get 1 more play. I don't know if this works for this. So we get to go first. Your turn spawns a clone of itself onto any free slots. We did not get this, so I don't know if this is a result of me playing it during the preparation phase. You unlock new cards in the card packs you buy in the market, including event cards. Okay, so everything's condensed into a single pack. Turtles in the Murloc Tamer, I suggest you play. Yeah, this guy is pretty interesting. So when does he activate? When marked in play, spawns 2 Murloc Inbred into free slots. But he has health, but he has no attack? So I'm putting him back here to protect him a little bit. Unfortunately, because we place them here, like, we can't actually attack with our hero right now, which was a bit of a mistake. So we're going to eliminate this guy. We need 3 action points in order to attack with this. So the turn ended. These are the inbred. So they have Infectious Bite. So it doesn't do damage, it adds a bleed. So he self-stuns for 1 round, and he causes a bleed. And he also gives himself more action points. What's this guy do? Stun? We'll get one of our range guys online. So this guy has a multi-hit. He hits 3 times, which is kind of cool. This guy still needs 3. You get to attack for freezies? Is that how that works? We'll attack back, but there's a bleed. Murloc Inbred is free bleed, by the way. Yep, that's what it appears to be. But we can't... So this is effectively a melee... Well, not effectively. It is a melee. We're swapping these so that we can get this going. And I'm taking forever. That's why the the timer's counting down so much. So unfortunately, if this guy goes here, he's gonna whack this guy as well. But the AI chose to do nada. So, I mean, we'll take it. So we're gonna ranged attack because we can get over the inbred and not get attacked back. So eliminate that guy for free. We kind of want to protect that guy. So we're going to stun this guy, because when they're stunned, they won't be able to attack back, so then we can run everybody else in with impunity. So whatever they're doing, they're generating 1 billion extra action points via this library, or leather-bound library. I'm obscuring it, but it's each turn they get +2 actions. So I don't know. We're going to do this for science. You're going to go here. You are going to go here. What I want to test here is we have a 3 attack. We have 2 damage, but 3 times. I don't know if it's attack, they attack back, then I attack more times, or if it's I do all 3 and then they go. If they die, then it's... What? Oh, okay. Okay, so they don't get to attack back unless they fully survive. And we're going to get this guy online. He still has to wait. We could get more actions, but that doesn't really help us here, other than rearranging things. Like, I'm not worried about that, so we just pass. Yeah, I chose to build a building. Fair. So you can see the different effects and how it maps out. It's very much both a card game and a tactics game, which I really like. But if they had DMP, you would not get to repeat, only deal the initial 2. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. This has 9 health, and it has... It splits the damage across the entire row. That's problematic. So that's for free. You go here. So we deal the 6. Now you clobber this. You should damage the spider. So how much do you split? 50%. Okay, so that makes sense. I'm just trying to figure out exactly... Yeah, sure, we'll generate some extra action points. So we have a ton of actions now, which we don't really need, but, you know. FYI, some of these cards may seem weak, but they're also meant to be upgraded. 3 split across is not much, but imagining her at level 6. Right. Is there... Like, what is the max level right now? Is there a max level? How did our guy do? Our guy do? Or how did our guy die? I looked away for a second. Presumably this guy shot him. Alright, so that should clear out the spider, too. So now they have a spiderling crawl. You. Get the squire. Shouldn't you be able to hit the DMP here? Oh no, because we're shooting over our dude. That's why. We're shooting over our dude. You have to kill this because it's going to periodically weaken our guys. It's going to periodically deal damage. Level cap is set at 20 for now, but then we'll see if it's too high or too low during EA. Gotcha. Gotcha. End turn. Yeah, I do like... This is what I was saying earlier about the potential for this game. I really like the idea that it's super low variance. You start with all your cards in hand. It's very much predicated and focused on resource management and the tactics of setting your board up and managing your board versus your opponents. Now, there are other slots here that we haven't gotten into. Ooh, we got fresh water, which doesn't really help right now because we don't have anything to play. But we do have available action. So, for example, this small potion, I could play this on Spider here and give him some health back. That wasn't necessarily a good play, but just to demonstrate it. And you could put buildings here, just like they have this library. You can unlock other stuff. But I probably should take my turn before I lose it. There we go. And then I want to hold this. The reason I want to hold it is I want it to hit their hero and, like, lock them out for a while, as opposed to punching this and then going on cooldown for, you know, now for the rest of eternity. So our event card goes bye-bye. They're going to bounce. Oh, no, that's the deal 2 damage one, not the bounce one. No, don't steal our gold. No. Wait, what is this? I don't know what this 2 is. Ah, you're right. There is another card art here. I was, like, out of the corner of my eye, I was seeing it and then just, like, not recognizing it. Oh, it has a bleed and it dies when it's in your hand? I thought that was a bleed, but I'm like, it went back to my hand. That doesn't make any sense. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So this must be poison, which means it doesn't have the other effect for now. You hit stuff behind things, so we're going to do this. So that should eliminate those two. Or not. Did that have a DMP? I didn't notice. We're just going to kill these things, because I don't want to screw around with it. We have... This guy will generate gold for us. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. We could have, since we have the spare... Well, we're not going to have spare actions to burn any longer because they killed our townsfolk that was generating that stuff for us. There's an event that pops up in the event list if DMP prevents your card from doing its thing. Okay. Alright, we're just going to... At this point, it's nothing but a flesh wound. I don't know about that one, buddy. I think you're in bad shape. So does that not stun him for longer? I was expecting the stun to stack. Oh no, because he has a DMP on him. Ugh, that was a mistake. Mistakes were made. Because the whole plan was to hit their hero with the web crawler so that it would stun him, but he had a DMP on him. Not just this one in front of him, but there was one sitting here right on the actual hero card. I don't think it particularly matters at this point, but, you know, just for the sake of playing properly. And GG, we get a victory. We got a victory loot pack. And 7 gold. So we get a pack and some amount of gold. I didn't notice how much gold we got previously. I'm trying to figure out, like, how many packs would it take to build a full collection versus unlock both getting a full collection and then upgrading everything. Presumably a lot, but I'm not sure exactly what the ratio, the rate is at this point in time. I hate to use the word grind, but I am... So, in all honesty, I am very curious to see what the accrual rate is for this stuff. Because I can see some dangers with, oh, well, that player has invested, you know, more time than me. How much more time? Well, it's going to directly correlate to in-game power. Like, their cards will just be better than mine. And that's fine in general, especially since you're not... It's not necessary to sink in additional money. But it just depends on how big the gap is. Like, a new player coming in, if they just get absolutely crapped on, and the answer is play 1,000 more hours, then you'll be on even footing. And I'm just making up numbers, obviously. That's where I'd feel concerned. So I want to see how that plays out. I'm very curious about that and what the balancing effects are. At certain levels, the difference of 1 or 2 health or attack may not matter. You know, if you're doing 4 damage versus if you're doing 3 damage versus 4 damage against a 6 health target, well, it still takes 2 attacks either way. But obviously, leaving them at 3 or 2 will change the math if they have a potion, if you have a follow-up attack, if you have whatever, of what things will work and what won't. So I'm sure it's going to be fine, but that's just something I want to keep an eye on. I know I've been very positive about everything, and I really am, but I wanted to call that out because that is a concern that I have going through. But, regardless, let's jump in. We're going to mess around some more with... That's not what I wanted. Undo this. Then we do this. So we're going to have to let it go find a bot. But that's okay. It gives me more time to hang out with chat. So chat, tell me, what do you guys think? I know a couple people were very excited. A couple people were expressing interest because there are going to be tournaments, and I was kind of expecting that. I kind of knew that people might have some feelings about that part of it. But what do people think about the gameplay? What do you think about the acquisition method? What do you think about all that other stuff? We'll try freshwater again. We're kind of going to go with the same game plan. Probably need to protect this guy. Probably need to protect both of them, to be honest. We do, or I did choose to leave this lane open so that our hero can get involved. So our hero does not self-stun, which is notable because a lot of the heroes do to begin with. So we stunned there. I think we want to advance this guy. I'm going to put you there so that both of them are in the front row. And then you are just going to pop one of the DMP. Yeah, I don't really care about you killing that guy. That's a little concerning. So if you hover over their card, it shows what the legal targets for them to attack are. That's kind of cool. I didn't notice that before. So 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you here. What? Oh, you're stunned. Ugh. Okay, so this got a little more complex. This got a little more complex. Get this guy online. You go here. So the unfortunate thing here is that we can't get at this guy, which is problematic. So they're going to be able to tag some of our stuff in ranged. Or at range, rather. I'd have to watch VOD back to watch the beginning. Been helping someone try to figure some stuff out. That's fair, Midge. I don't remember which part you would come in at. Oh, God. Are you going to die? Hope not. Okay, good. So you lived, which is important. All right, so this will let us buff our melee guys. Let us buff our melee guys. So I guess we're going to slam you out there. I think we want to... Oh, no, you're not going to die. You're not going to die because you're going to remove this. I was hoping we could actually free up that spot. That's okay. This will remove this one. And we should be in real good shape at this point. You will attack that. So this frees up the lane. Now, we could generate some additional... I think we're going to do this. We're going to generate some additional action points. And then now we can ranged attack here. Which starts to reduce the DMP on the hero. Now, they can ranged attack our twin shot here, which is unfortunate. But... they went over there. So is this show... Oh, we have a guard tower. I didn't notice that we unlocked this. I must have missed this earlier. So these take time to build. We're definitely going to play it just so I can put it out there and show people what's going on. Well, actually, do we have enough gold? Let's take 25 gold. Might not be able to play it. So this is melee, so it can't attack. This is ranged. Kind of sucks that we have to waste this. I mean, I guess we don't have to. We could have done it here. But I want to get rid of this guy. I didn't want to risk that thing hanging around. You go here? No. You are going to... Oh, no, we can't attack with you. Ugh, that's obnoxious. What do we do here? Kind of dirtled a little bit. We needed to get one more attack. We need to remove this thing. It has no attack, but it damages a random card of ours by 1, so it could hit the Arbalist. Arbalister, whatever. So we're going to summon this. We're going to go here. You're going to deal 3 and stun, so that's fine. We're just going to stun you. Because I want this to clear this out and open the lane up. This is stunned, unfortunately. We're healing that guy because I don't want to screw around with this thing accidentally killing it. Likely we would be fine regardless, but... Likely we would be fine regardless. That's a firecracker. Yep. So that, I'm glad we put the health there, because keeping this guy alive is pretty important. Keeping this guy alive seems fairly important. A bakery. Fresh pastry. +2 health to own card, +1 to player. Alright, so they bounce this guy. He still has stun. Alright, so this guy's got to go, because this is super annoying. You just stun him. You kill this thing, because I'm tired of dealing with this stupid spider. He's annoying me to no end. So this, I assume, is a bug. That I can't play the card while it's stunned. Because that seems like I should be able to do that. This is just going to remove this guy. It'll die if it attacks the leader. But we do want to keep it around so that that way it'll clear the DMP. Because I don't think their leader's going to attack this thing. I just want to get this other stuff set up and ready to go. Alright, so obviously you're clearing these. This guy probably could have came out last turn. Oh, we're out of action points. That's not good. Because their leader's coming off of cooldown. Their leader's coming off cooldown, so that means that they can kill the Arbalister here. But they're going after our economy. So we have a bleed, but the counterattack does not give bleed. Which I guess is because it's rounded down. Makes sense. A little unfortunate, but... Alright, so we dealt some damage. We should be good from here. I mean, we're not quite there yet, but we should be fine. The idea that cards retain their effects, bleed, stun, etc., move back to your hand is intentional. Yes, that makes sense. I didn't realize, like, the stun itself seemed out of place as far as being unable to then play the card. Like, now that I know that, like, it logically makes sense. I just didn't anticipate that initially. It's a very much a digital card game thing that you're able to retain that sort of thing as compared to a physical card game. Obviously, physical card games, there's no reasonable way to track that sort of stuff. But in a digital card game, it's absolutely possible, and I think that that's acceptable. We're getting our free packs left and right. That's also something that I'm curious about, how the potions will relate to gameplay as time goes on. Alright, so we got more townspeople. We got an Arbalister trainee, which I think is the same one we have with the triple attack. I really like this one. It's effectively 6 attack, although, as mentioned earlier, if there's DMP, it's going to soak the attack and then prevent the rest. So that's notable. So we'll try and get one more in. We'll get one more in, then maybe switch gears. Switch over to some Vampire Survivors. But I am absolutely enjoying playing Dragon Evo. And like I said, I had waited all week. I had resisted all week, I guess is the best way to put it. Trying to keep myself from playing it because I wanted to have the initial playthrough, the initial tutorial and everything show up on stream. Like, I'm rank 52 now? We'll go, we have been keeping a full board. We're going to keep going with freshwater. We do want our economy. This is looting. We'll go spider. So you have a ranged attack of 3. We'll do this guy. We'll start out like this. We're just trying different builds to start. It probably would have been better to put him here. I guess it doesn't really matter because we're going to have to move one of them up. Like, one of you has to go here. And you go here. You go... I guess it doesn't really matter. Just go here. And we bank 1 action point for what that's worth. I do want to make sure we generate more because that seemed to be very beneficial, which you'd expect, you know, generating more resources is generally pretty good in card games. Alright, so there's their ranged attack. It's actually an attack of 3, which is kind of a lot. I mean, granted, most of the heroes seem to be that way, but... Oh, you stun us. You don't self-stun. Really? Huh. That seems pretty good. I mean, we're safe from it for a little while, simply because they can't, we want to get this down sooner rather than later. So they can't fly over everything. I guess we didn't need to do this. It still had bleed on it. They can't shoot over all this stuff. So we're able to protect this twin shot. We do need to be a little concerned about this, though. And in fact, it would be dangerous right now if they went after it. They elected to play something in front instead. Okay. So eliminate that guy. Why are you able to get to the DMP in the back? Why are you able to get back here? Am I missing something? This counts as a ranged attack? That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I had thought they were all melee by default if they're not specifically ranged. I guess this is a ranged attack. Alright, so this guy's stunned. We have to continue protecting the twin shot, or otherwise this is going to get messy. We're going to generate some action economy here. We'll just eliminate this guy. Slap a squire here. This guy helps with gold economy, but I don't know that we care that much. I think we'd rather get this guy online. I think that's more important. So this guy's going to eat it because they're going to range attack and kill him. Or not. They're going to spread the wealth. So they swap the bakery for the library, I think is what happened here. Alright, so you're 5. We have to do this or we can't kill it. I wanted this to target the double-bladed sword dancer here, but we don't have that really as an option. So we haven't seen our fresh spring, or whatever it's called, and I don't think we're going to. We're just going to play this. So that, they're both stunned a turn, which is whatever. But now it's in range to be one shot by the twin shot. Also a weird sentence to say. You would think by definition a twin shot is... it can't one-shot something. Alright, so you're going to do 6 and then 3. So I think we... Oh no, because you have to do that. Okay, so you just kill this. It'll deal damage here, but we don't really care about that. We're going to remove it now anyway. This can go here. This will be able to attack something. It's also going to give them extra AP, which is not spectacular for us, but we'll have to find a way to live. We're going to generate some more AP for us as well. There is a max of 10 AP. So we're at 9 now. We're going to actually go over this turn. Because we're going to generate more. 3 more specifically. Oh, the guard tower got him. I was like, how did this die? Oh, guard tower will do him in. Because this is the building that we had built. So, each 2 opponents' turns, it's -2 health to a random card they have. I don't think it can hit their hero. No, don't take all my money. Taking all my monies. Release the hounds. What did you hit? Oh, you removed a DMP. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I guess we replay this guy. We are going to play the Spores. Alright, sorry, I was checking obs real quick. Hopefully there aren't too many drop frames. It's showing that there was a lot. I'm trying a different setup here on the back end to test some recording stuff, so I don't know how much that's interfering. Obviously, it is somewhat. You're going to remove this. Now, you will get attacked back, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, no, you're not, because it's only going to remove DMP. So we probably needed to clear some of this other stuff out. We took too long. Took too long. Because I was busy checking obs to see what was going on. That's obnoxious. Oh, you got another one of these things? Stop. Don't like that. So notably, we stun stuff back with the spider, which I thought we don't get the effects of the attacks on attack backs, but seemingly there's a caveat to it. This will stun you. Oh, that costs gold to do it. Ruh-roh. Can you attack? So we'll just stun you into oblivion. Like, now it's a 4-turn stun for them to attack. We should have them locked out at this point. Got him. We got him. Alright, so we gotta clear this guy out. Do some damage. You do 3 there. Okay, I was gonna say, is it not gonna hit? You can... Oh, we're out of gold again. Ugh. We're running really low on gold. Pass? Well, actually, we could play this guy. That'll help our gold generation. This guy's locked out of attacking for presumably the remainder of the game. So the spider just moves around on its own, which is a little annoying. It can definitely screw you up. Like, it could have exposed a ranged guy to the front that we didn't want to have happen. But, I mean, it counts as 2 bodies, so, like, it's reasonable as to why that happens. This almost gets there. Doesn't quite do it, but that'll be the finishing blow. Undefeated. Undefeated, undisputed champion, obviously. But yeah, I've really been enjoying my time with Dragon Evo so far. I'm looking forward to diving in more, unlocking more stuff. Ooh, we unlocked the weapon rack. And messing around with a lot more of the combinations of cards, building new decks, and of course figuring out more things about the game itself. But that's going to do it for this segment of the stream, so I appreciate everybody that was hanging out for Dragon Evo. We're going to be switching gears a little bit, but as always, everybody, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and Black Lives Matter.